4 to 5, it is a full house around here today, y'all.
Party over here.
I'm Ben Briscoe with Stacy Spivey, Monique Robinson, and Lauren Coleman.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us right here on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app for your TV, phone, or tablet.
Well, guys, we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to go ahead and jump into our top story for this hour. A lot of changes happening at the Greensboro Police Department. Greensboro native and Police Chief Brian James is stepping down just 2 years after taking the lead. The city announced his retirement on Monday, ending 26 years with the department. For the first time since the news, Chief James opened up about why he decided to step away.
It was a good time for me and for my family. Certainly this job takes a toll on your family. Even if you're not serving as chief, it's challenging because oftentimes your family signs up for this job. The hours are not always the same. The stressors are not the same as most jobs. And it was a good time for us to transition into a next phase of life.
Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughan says Chief James's retirement came as a surprise, but hopes to have his replacement not too far after his last day, which is May 31st. In the meantime, Teresa Biffle will serve as the interim police chief. She is a 27-year veteran with the Greensboro Police Department. One Greensboro middle school is getting a new building, while one high school is losing a portion of its athletic fields. Right now, the Guilford County Commissioners are touring Kaiser Middle School and discussing its future. Kaiser will be rebuilt using money from the 2020 bond voters passed. The new building will sit where Grimsley's baseball and softball fields are now. Several parents have protested getting rid of the fields, but the district says the general plan likely won't change. The tour started just a few minutes ago. We'll let you know what comes out of it.
A whole lot went down at the latest Greensboro City Council meeting last night, and we are here to get you up to speed. Council members approved a $135 million referendum for Greensboro voters. You get to decide on this one in June. If approved, the city would use the money to fund projects in 5 areas: housing, parks and recreation, firefighting facilities, law enforcement, and transportation. Now keep in mind, all of the money for this project would come with a property tax increase. Check out our web story to determine how much your taxes could go up. The bond referendum will be on the Greensboro ballot in July. Last night, city leaders also voted to rename a portion of Bragg Street downtown to Carolyn Coleman Way. The road goes from Martin Luther King Jr. Drive to South Elm Street. Guilford County Commissioner Coleman was a civil rights trailblazer. She served on the commission for almost 2 decades. She died in February at 79 years old. The council also approved over $1 million to upgrade safety features at Greensboro police stations. This includes new fencing, security cameras, and lighting. The money will come from the federal COVID relief money.
Soon we'll know more about a new social district coming to the Triad. High Point City officials are ironing out the final details right now in a council meeting. The social district is expected to start tomorrow at Congdon Yard Food Hall and Plaza, right next to Truist Point Stadium.
Turning now to developing news on the federal transportation mask mandate. A Department of Justice spokesman says if the CDC thinks the mandate is necessary, it will file an appeal. For now, masks are no longer required on planes and buses. Several airlines dropped their mask requirements on domestic flights once a judge overruled the mandate. Right now, the CDC is analyzing how the lack of masks will impact the coronavirus pandemic. Health experts say everyone should take into account their surroundings.
Many people who may be at higher risk, older age, immunocompromised conditions that are still very vulnerable to infection.
According to Johns Hopkins, more than 2,900 Americans died from COVID-19 in the past week. The loosening of restrictions comes as we're seeing a small upward trend in our COVID-19 metrics. This graph shows statewide hospitalizations. The latest number is 365 patients. Our recent numbers have been fairly level, but if you look closer, you'll see this number has increased in the past 4 days. They're small increases, but it's noticeable considering we haven't seen 4 consecutive days of increases in months. Now, when you look at the big picture, over the last 7 weeks, we've started seeing more of these small increases.
Monique, I'm loving this slight increase in our weather. I was able to show off a little leg today. Just needed a light jacket. It was nice.
Well, Lauren, you haven't been here in quite a while, but wherever you were, I think you brought some warm weather here because it's feeling warmer today, and I'm forecasting warmer weather tomorrow and the next day, reaching the 80s for the weekend. But right now, we're in a mix of 60s, 62 in Greensboro, 66 in High Point, 64 as well in Winston-Salem. When we take a look across the nation, there are some hot spots. Oklahoma City, Lauren, were you there? It's 91 degrees there. Are we bringing that heat here? As we look at temperatures in other places as far into the Northeast, 59 degrees there in New York and 33. I mean, we're not going to be seeing that for quite a while, at least for the end of this week and going into the weekend. When we look at the satellite radar, flipping from the temperatures and now looking at the rain and storm chances, there's more activity to the west of us. You can see extending well past the Ohio Valley and upwards of the Mississippi Valley, extending, stretching from the north to the south, but expecting for not that to occur here as we go into tonight. The next chance for us to see rain, you can see that system fizzling out and further north, is going to be next week. So we're talking dry time through the next several days, not only including today or Wednesday, but also Thursday and Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday. Monday, things could be a little bit of rain chance, but it's really Tuesday when that cold front crosses our area and does give us the best chance for rain. But behind it, we're talking cooler weather across the area. So, yep. No rain chances, won't need the umbrella for a little bit, but as we start out the week next week, around the midweek, that's when those rain chances do return, and I'll be breaking it all down coming up.
On Pilot Mountain. Hey Facebook fam, how you do?
Lauren just made me laugh so hard, in case you missed it. When she tossed the weather, and what did you say?
I said, I'm liking this warm up. I could show off a little leg today.
Oh my gosh.
Little
That's so
leg.
funny.
No, just
It is definitely beautiful weather outside.
It is.
What are you guys going to do this weekend? Or not this weekend.
Well, I'm
it's only
working
Wednesday.
this
What are you going to do
weekend.
the rest of the week to enjoy?
I'm gonna, you know, now that the sun, you know, doesn't set at 5 p.m., I might actually go for a little walk after work or something.
Yeah?
Maybe not today, but tomorrow or Friday.
That's
Be
in
nice.
addition to your workout in the morning?
Yes, which I've been slipping since, you know, I've been traveling the last like week or so. I have worked out maybe twice in the last 2 weeks. So.
You are
Right.
so motivational.
I mean,
So I need to,
that's more than
I fell
have,
off the
so.
wagon, but I'm gonna get back on.
You said, Ben, you were like, y'all are kind of quiet. And I'm like thinking about it. I'm like,
Well,
yeah,
of
I'm
course.
tired.
You're tired
Of course
because you were
you
out
are.
partying with
Elton
superstars
John.
last night.
Yeah,
How was it?
it was really awesome. It was. I was so impressed by how talented he is. I mean, like, duh, I knew he was talented, but like watching him play the piano live, like how fast he can do that, and then like his whole
So
band.
charismatic, right?
Oh, he's hilarious. He's so funny. I'll have to tell y'all the story.
Hard to forget, nearly 5 months ago, Pilot Mountain was a ring of fire. After hundreds of acres burned, Mother Nature bounced back. New pictures show there is still some damage and a lot of charred trees, but park rangers say actually there was less than 5% tree death overall in the park. Today, WFMU News 2's Jenna Krasina walked through the park with a ranger to see what changes you might notice when you head there next.
Back in November, more than 1,000 acres burned here at Pilot Mountain. Now, 5 months later, the state park is thriving and ready for thousands of spring visitors.
I tell people when you look around, you'll notice the trees look a little crispy. We're not burnt, but we're definitely a little crispy.
Before and after. These pictures show a lot of progress in a short amount of time. Carla Williams, a ranger at Pilot Mountain State Park, says she knew the mountain would heal.
You're going to see some of those charred marks, and even maybe some of our smaller trees didn't make it, but there was less than 5% tree death overall in the park, which is great for a fire of that size, because we had a little bit over 1,000 acres burned, around 1,050 acres. It's good because now we have that fuel layer gone, but the good thing about it is there was very minimal damage.
The North Carolina Forest Service said a campfire started the wildfire last year. Since then, Williams says crews have been working nonstop, and it's been a team effort during the cleaning process. If you plan on making a visit this spring, rangers want to remind folks to stay on the path and not venture off the trails. In Pilot Mountain, Jenna Kurzina, WFMY News 2.
Wow.
Crispy but not burnt.
I just think of chicken when you say that.
I know, I got so hungry all
Got
of
me
a
a
sudden.
little hungry. But it's nice to see the improvement that it's made in these last few months, because when this originally happened, we were reporting on this nonstop. And I just remember, all the community coming together as this was happening. And it's nice to see the advancements that have been made in a short period of time.
It's crazy when Jenna said last year, I'm like, it was last
Yeah.
year. Time really does fly. But I remember seeing those images, and it just looked so disheartening for a lot of folks, especially with a lot of ties to that area and just the imagery of what Pilot Mountain does being where it's located. But to see that it's improving and it's getting better, I think is amazing for a lot of folks, especially in Surrey County.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say definitely a jewel of North Carolina, and we're so excited that it's coming back and looking better.
Yeah, I just remember vividly Eric Chilton talking about it, because him, being from the area and growing up and just taking his family there, and I just remember him getting very emotional talking about it, and just looking at this photo behind us, like you can see the fire that was there. It's hard to believe that that was how it looked then, but thankfully it's doing much better now.
And it makes you appreciate the jewels like that in our state. I want to make my way out there to, hike those trails.
And it makes you in awe of Mother Nature, the fact that she can bounce back from that so fast.
But you can't bounce back from everything. We got to make some good efforts out there to keep our Earth good. Earth Day is on Friday. Got to plug out there.
There you go.
Good.
The meteorologist and you doing that, Monique.
Well, much like surveying happening out on Pilot Mountain, Coach Lamont says there's often a lot of times to uncover in our minds as well. Listen as he explains how what we believe can impact our lives.
The one thing we all have in common is our power to believe. Now, this power is integrated in our inner spirit. What we believe becomes the foundation of everything connected to us, from our lifestyle, our decisions, and how we relate to ourselves and others. So my question is, what do you believe about you? To find the answer, monitor your dominant thoughts and listen to the language you use when speaking to yourself. If what you believe about you is hindering you or preventing you from living the life you desire, you must confront that belief, because anything left unresolved internally will resolve itself externally. And those results may not be beneficial to us. Make you and what you believe about you a priority. There is no time to waste. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, that was powerful. I was just talking about this with a friend about the importance of believing in yourself, because others can believe in you, your parents, your bosses, your friends. They can tell you all these great things about you, but if you don't truly believe those things, you can't reach your full potential, and you're always going to be questioning yourself and needing that validation from other people. But if you believe in yourself, you can really take on the world. So I think that was a very powerful message.
I think for so long in my life, confidence was a major issue.
Yeah.
I think we all have things that happen as kids that make us less confident. And until you believe in yourself and overcome that, you will never reach your dreams and your goals. And I learned that firsthand. And one thing that I do, I'm a big believer, I tell everyone this, there's an app called I Am.
Oh.
And it's free, and it gives you daily affirmations to say to yourself. So I get like 5 of them a day. They come to my phone, they come to my watch, and just seeing those gives you a moment to breathe and reflect and believe in yourself again.
I have an app too. It's not the I Am app, it's a mantra app, and it's set to go off whenever I wake up in the morning, and it has like affirmations, and it seems cliche, but it does like get you into the right mindset to take on the day.
What is your favorite affirmation?
Anything that has to do with self-value. and knowing that you're loved and knowing that you do matter and you have purpose. Because sometimes you do have to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to head to the break. We'll be right back. It's officially strawberry season. The berries are red, ripe, and ready to be devoured. I stopped by Rudd Farms in Greensboro to see how the crop looks and when you can get your hands on some. This is only their third day open for this season. Just like the past 2 years, they chose to keep things drive-through style instead of letting customers pick berries themselves. Owner Matt Rudd says this worked well for them and keeps things efficient. He says the season usually lasts for about 8 to 12 weeks depending on the weather. If you want to grab a bucket, here's what to expect.
We pick them at the perfect ripeness, and they're just juicy and sweet, and I mean, if you're not careful, you'll have it all over you.
Rudd says they already planted some summer crops like tomatoes, cantaloupes, and watermelons. As for the strawberry outlook, I'll have Rudd's forecast coming up in the next half hour. So I asked you on Facebook, what's the best way to eat strawberries? Is it straight from the farm, in cake, ice cream, with sugar? Well, William says all of the above, but homemade ice cream is the best. For Michael, it's any way you can eat them. Freddie likes them dipped in whipped cream. Rhonda says all of the above. Curtis prefers ice cream or cake. And then I kept looking back on my Facebook page and more comments. One that I didn't think about, chocolate.
Thank you. I was just going to say, how did no one say chocolate covered?
I didn't even think of that either. I do like a nice do you like the white chocolate, the dark chocolate, or the milk chocolate?
All three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love
Dark
anything.
chocolate.
I know I should like dark chocolate, but
Oh,
it's just
no.
not my thing.
I have grown to like dark chocolate.
Oh,
I'm
I
not that
love
mature.
it.
Every time I eat it, I'm mad at myself because I'm like, you should have just had the milk chocolate. It's not really that much
You were
better.
trying to be healthier.
Exactly. You're trying to be healthy, but you're already eating something sweet. You might as well go all the way.
I just like it. I think it tastes good. I don't know. I'm a fan.
I could take it in small doses.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get like, you know, straight from the plant kind of chocolate, but like the good kind of dark chocolate, I'm okay with.
So what do you guys like to do with your strawberries?
No one
What's the
said
best way?
strawberry lemonade.
I didn't
That's
think of
good.
that either. That is a good
Yeah.
one, especially when it's frozen.
Oh,
well, I
margarita.
just eat
Yeah,
it.
or margarita.
I eat it, you know.
Just strawberries.
Eat it on a cake. Eat it on a cheesecake. Eat it in a pie, eat it in a drink with a smoothie. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Dr. Seuss.
Lauren, what about you?
A lot of things. The strawberry lemonade, didn't think of that. Strawberry soda is good. Cream cheese, like for a bagel for breakfast. Strawberry jelly, I'm all about that.
Strawberry
Y'all-
Pop-Tarts.
I know that you have good ways at home. I want to see those recipes. Will you put them in our Facebook chat for us? Because
Yeah.
we got lots of strawberries to eat
Spread
now.
the
Yeah.
wealth.
Well, these strawberries do really good in 70-degree weather. So Monique,
They do. That
is it going to be
right.
nice weather for them?
Yeah, certainly. Those freezes and those frosts, like what we had last night, those aren't good for crops. But as we continue to warmer days ahead, it's looking good for those strawberries. And I actually got to taste some of those earlier, and they're delicious. So head on down and get some for yourself. High pressure in place, keeping us dry and quiet. As this continues to just kind of stay around our area, we won't get to see much of anything on our radar. Now, this cold front does approach us, but it kind of takes a funky transition and pushes back to the north and east. Doesn't really impact us. It's still high pressure in control across our area. Now, as we look towards what I want to explain for you, high pressure is an area that rotates clockwise. And so what happens is it's a flow of air. So when you're on the northern side of it, you're getting winds out of the north. When you're on the southern side, you're getting it out of the south. So this is a look at the air as it moves throughout the atmosphere. We're looking higher up in the atmosphere. This is the high pressure system. It's continuing to control the forecast for all of the southeast, but then things change. A very deep trough approaches us and then crosses our area for the early part of next week. That's what changes the weather for us here at the surface. But no need to worry just quite yet. The temperatures for this weekend are looking good. It's a cooler start, but by the finish, we will be warm.
Check this out. A new game show is coming to WFNY News 2. Country superstar Kelsey Ballerini, Latin pop legend Gloria Estefan, and rapper LL Cool J are among the artists signed on to appear in the new CBS show Superfan. Contestants will compete to prove they are the ultimate fan for the chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime experience with the artists they love. Entertainment Tonight's Kelty Knight and CBS Morning's co-host Nate Burleson will host. Production begins this week. And speaking of super fans, our own Stacey Spivey got a chance to see one of her favorite artists live last night.
I got to go see Elton John in concert at the Greensboro Coliseum. It was amazing. These are some videos I took on my phone when I was in there. You can see I was in the nosebleed, but even in the nosebleed, it is worth it because he is amazing, even at 75 years old. I was just so blown away by how talented he is. I mean, obviously he's Elton John, so I should know that, but just to hear him sing and watch him play the piano, it's just, I mean, it was breathtaking. But I have to tell the story he told because
Please.
I will never forget it.
Because we couldn't afford tickets. We want to hear it.
Okay, so here you go. It was a Christmas present like a long time ago. So he said that this was his 5th trip to Greensboro. The first time he came was back in 1973, and he said, I will never forget it because he said, I was on stage performing and someone threw a hash pipe and it hit me in the forehead, and he said I was wearing that big chicken costume, and he said he had to be escorted off the stage because it actually cut his head open.
Oh my goodness.
And they thought he might have to go to the hospital, but he said that he ended up being fine, that he didn't need stitches, so he came back on stage 15 minutes later and finished the show.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that he kept coming back to Greensboro.
Right?
That's what I was like, and he still came back.
Yeah, so he was like, I'll never forget Greensboro.
Also, you would think that would happen at like a Willie Nelson concert, not an Elton John concert.
But also, why are you throwing stuff at him?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Don't.
If you're going to throw flowers or something.
Yeah, let the
something
people
positive.
perform.
But this crowd is huge.
Oh, it
and
was
this was a
packed.
huge anticipation because didn't it keep getting canceled because of COVID?
Right, yes. So we bought our tickets, and I talked about this before. We bought our tickets in December 2019 for Christmas gifts for each other. And then, of course, the pandemic canceled it, and it was finally rescheduled for last night. It was supposed to be May of 2020.
Wow.
So he finally made it. He said he has about 130 shows left of his farewell tour.
That is just so impressive. He's been doing this so long, and that's a lot of shows.
And people were very emotional at the end because think about it, this could be the last time they ever see him live. The people next to me, they were hugging each other and crying. I mean, they love Elton, and it was just a special moment.
I don't
to
think
be there.
he's done. You know how they say that they're retired. He'll come back. And
I don't know if he'll do like a full-out world tour anymore because I mean, he is getting older. He has kids. He wants to be present in their lives, but maybe he'll perform here and there.
Fingers
It was great.
crossed.
Come back to Greensboro.
We won't throw anything at you.
Welcome back and happy Hump Day, everyone. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Monique Robinson. We got Ben Briscoe and Stacey Spivey.
Yeah, we have made it halfway through the week, y'all. Thank you guys for joining us here on WFMY News 2. Maybe you're on Fire Stick, Roku, or the News 2 app for your TV, phone, or tablet.
Seems like just as many ways as there are to watch us. We have that many important stories we need to cover for you right now. So let's jump right into it. Starting off with day 3 in court of an important hearing involving the murder of Chris Paul's grandfather. The defense is still calling witnesses, arguing that the men who were arrested and convicted as teens are innocent. Today, lawyers dug deeper into the defendant's past by looking at the report cards from grade school. They actually brought those out. The document showed multiple tardies, absences, and suspensions. Listen to this. The defense is using the men's records to show signs of intellectual disabilities and support the claim that they could not have spearheaded a calculated murder. Nearly 20 years ago, Nathaniel Jones was found beaten to death outside his Winston-Salem home. In 2020, a key witness recanted her testimony, which prompted this week's innocence hearing. Coming up at 5, we are digging deeper into today's witness testimony and hear from the experts on the stand.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Right now, a popular Greensboro club is closed after it received a visit from the city. The Safety Review Board found several code and structure violations at the Blind Tiger on Spring Garden Street. We don't know why the board visited the venue, but the city board responds to venues where violent incidents at venues that serve alcohol happen. Last week, Greensboro Police responded to 2 separate shootings at the club. Again, it's unclear if the shooting investigations have anything to do with this safety board visit or closure. This is a developing story. We'll keep you posted. Well, you can add toys to the list of items getting more expensive. Giant toy maker Hasbro says it's raising prices to combat soaring shipping costs. The company says ongoing tension in Ukraine led to a halt of toy shipments to Russia. Hasbro also partially blames factory shutdowns due to the pandemic. Prices are expected to rise in the middle of this year. Subscribers could soon see another payment option on their Netflix account. The company says it may introduce an ad-based option in the next few years. Netflix says that the new feature will come at a lower price and hopes it will bring in new customers. Right now, the company's stock is in the gutter after seeing the first drop in subscribers in more than a decade. And big news is brewing over at Truist Field Stadium. Today, the Winston-Salem Dash unveiled a limited-time rebrand. The team will be called the Flights during the July 22nd game. The name in honor of the city and the state's aviation history in the craft beer boom. The team showed off the new merch today at the Smith Reynolds Airport. Fans can get a hold of the gear on the Dash's website. The team says the rebrand is the first of many planned this season.
Strawberry season is here and the berries are ready to be eaten. Matt Rudd owns Rudd Farm in Greensboro. He says the weather can really impact the outlook of strawberry season. Strawberries thrive in temperatures in the 70s and low 80s during the day and then 50s or 60s at night. This gives them the time to ripen a little slower, which Rudd says makes them sweeter. We've seen some cool nights lately, so the farm has kept plants covered, and Rudd says he's optimistic about this year's harvest.
The berries haven't really started producing full yet, so our hours haven't been consistent. And we just tell people in the season early like this, just bear with us. The berries are coming. If you didn't get them, you're going to get them.
The season usually lasts for about 8 to 12 weeks. Right now, we are in the first week of the season. And so if you're interested in checking them out, we have the information on our website, WFMYnews2.com. Also, we have a full list of other strawberry farms in the area. So if you don't live in Greensboro, that you can go to different ones.
There's so many options for fun things to do on the weekend, and going to a strawberry patch is a lot of fun, especially with the kids.
Oh yeah. Now this one is drive-through again this year, but there are some different places throughout the track. You can actually park, get out, and go pick which ones you want yourself.
I think that makes for a great experience, especially like you said, when you have the little kiddos and something safe and fun to do, something outside, and then you can take your little goodies or you can make something at home with it.
Yeah,
so
that would be
it could be
fun.
A full day's experience.
You can always sneak a couple too while you're picking.
Right, you got to.
The quality of those strawberries, though, the ones that you got from that farm today, were so juicy and large and ripely red. I mean, oftentimes when I go in the grocery store and grab them, you may get one that's not a really good batch. You have some that are good, some that aren't good, but that full batch that I had was delicioso.
You got to buy those North Carolina produce.
Yeah.
They're so much better local.
She's right, because I haven't eaten mine yet, but I do have the bag on my desk. They're all red,
Yeah.
and they're not mushy, or when you go to the store, sometimes there could be a little mold on one, or one might look kind of white.
Yeah.
But these were really, really red, and I can't wait to eat them after the show.
Yeah, well, he actually took me out to, on the farm to show me exactly which ones they pick when they're ready and stuff. And this weather could not be more ideal for these strawberries right now, Monique.
Yeah, the direction in which we're headed in is the right one. But what we were today, I noticed on that video, them pulling back that white tarp across the strawberries. That white tarp was put on probably because of these temperatures that we had earlier today. Because when temperatures get around the freezing point, that's no good for a strawberry farm. Temperatures this morning, 33 degrees in Greensboro, 29 in Reedsville. So all of us were either below freezing, right around it, or just maybe a degree or two above it. So it was not a good night for crops, but tomorrow and the transition of the temperatures as we go over the next couple of days is going to be good for those crops. And overall, the spring season reaps a good harvest oftentimes when we continue in these warm temperatures. So highs for today across the area were in the 60s. So we nearly doubled what we started out as. And for tomorrow, we're talking 70s across the area with plenty of sunshine. 72 is forecast in Mount Airy, and we look further east, another 72 there in Greensboro. Have yet to show the 7-day, but here you have it. Warming temperatures for the weekend, and some folks on Monday, I think, could maybe see a 90.
It's no secret, weddings can be expensive. According to The Knot, an online wedding publication, the average cost for a wedding in 2021 was $28,000.
Yo, that's a car.
Yeah,
That is. But one couple who's now going viral says their special day didn't go over $500.
Get this, their names actually Joel and Kira Broken Bro. They did not want to go broke by getting married, so they got creative. According to the LA Times, they set up their ceremony on this scenic turnoff in a highway over in California in February. The bride says she got that fancy gown of hers online from Shein.
Yeah, that place has some great deals. But the couple said they called in a lot of favors from friends to buy the cake and flowers. They also invited about 30 to 40 relatives and close friends and asked them to pay for their own food and drinks, which they had no problem doing.
So now hold on, y'all. The last part really has a lot of folks talking. On my Facebook page, the couple says, as you said, they asked the guests to pay for their own food and drinks. And people here in the Triad, they had a lot to say about this. James Wilson says, if you can't afford the reception, then don't have one. Stephen Hayes says, it's just like giving a gift to me, plus more brides and grooms are struggling to pay for the elegance they are chasing anyway. Might as well give them the real help. Cassandra Mullins wrote, I will just go to the wedding and leave when it's over. Curtis Weather says, that's not a wedding, it's a fundraiser. Shots fired. Joy Mott says, I won't go. Michelle Foster said, if I pay, you do not get a gift. A lot of people wrote that about the gift part.
I agree.
I agree with that too, but I also think if you can't afford to provide your guests with the food and drinks, then maybe you shouldn't have a reception. What do you think?
Should at least have an open bar.
I feel
Bare
like
minimum.
a lot of those people are being very harsh because this is my celebration with my partner that I'm investing you to just watch what I've been blessed to receive. I feel like I'm not saying to make people pay for it. I don't foresee that for when I plan a wedding one day. But like, what I'm just saying is like, that's a lot of, we're talking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that I'm spending on people just to look at me. And now I'm going to be going in debt to try to buy a house or to go on my honeymoon or whatever have you.
Then don't
But the
have the
argument
wedding,
is that
just
don't
buy the
have
house.
don't have the wedding, maybe just do a honeymoon. Some people put so much into these weddings, taking out loans, and then the marriage falls apart in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm personally not a fan of shelling out money that you don't have for one day. I want a special wedding day too, but I feel like it shouldn't be on the guests. It's not their responsibility to pay for your wedding.
The woman recently married. What
Well, yeah, as y'all are talking, I'm like thinking about it. I was very fortunate to have parents that paid for a wedding. And so, sorry, my necklace was hitting my mic. My parents had started a fund when I was in high school, and they just kind of every year kind of like,
Wow.
yes.
That's smart.
Thank you, Rick and Susan. I love you so much. Beautiful wedding. But like, I've been to weddings where they've had cash bars, and I just remember being like, oh, I have to pay for my drink. But at the same time, I totally get it. Like, you spend all this money on everything else. Like, I think just cashing out, like, you know, $10, $20 is okay. I personally would never have wanted someone to come to my wedding and have to pay for their food.
I'm all about the cheap wedding. I mean, if you're gonna do this,
And it
you
looked
might as well
good.
just have a party like at the house in the backyard.
Right, that's so
Get some
easy,
beer
BYOB.
and like a pizza. I don't care what
Get
the
the
food
iPod on, shuffle
is. But
your
just
plate.
providing something for someone is nice.
Yeah, you know, I get it. I'm just saying, based on my research, the average American makes about $50,000. Wedding is $20,000. Can most people really afford a wedding?
No.
No, they can't. I mean, just get Taco Bell. It'll be fine.
Not Taco Bell.
People love Taco Bell.
I like Taco Bell. Those
The Mexican
quesadillas hit.
pizza's coming
Weigh
back
in on
too.
Facebook. We'll be right back.
An EpiPen. You've heard of it before. Without insurance, it costs about $200, but here it costs $25. This is a pharmacy that folks in Winston-Salem desperately need. Today, I met a woman who is on the front line helping to solve this city's biggest healthcare problem. Dr. Raven Scales is a pharmacy director at United Health Center's pharmacy in Winston-Salem.
When I found out I had the job, I spent the whole night crying, like tears of joy.
Scales says she felt like she beat the odds. She says she didn't expect to be in a position like this.
My last year in pharmacy school, there's like this big conference you go to do interviews to try to see if you want a residency or a fellowship. And I had interviews and things lined up, and I didn't get any. I didn't get a residency, I didn't get a fellowship.
Scales says her journey didn't start out as she wanted, but learned every step was exactly what she needed. first as an intern at Rite Aid and eventually a Walgreens pharmacy manager before landing the job at this newly established pharmacy.
There are thousands in this community that have poor health literacy, don't have transportation, just a lot of barriers, don't have the funds to be able to afford doctor's visits or their medications.
Scales wanted to bridge the healthcare gap.
Patients who come in and they see our doctors, they have access to these medications that are more affordable. So for example, for Januvia, we have a 90-day supply for $45. It's probably $1,500 for without insurance.
But Scales says you have to live it to really understand.
And I'm just a prime example of someone who may have needed a pharmacy like this. So being able to relate and connect to the people in this community, like my family members are in this community, my friends, friends of friends, friends of family, just being able to understand where they are and then being able to bring them where I am.
Scales wakes up every morning, oh, so grateful.
I had my moments where I thought God forgot about me, but had I went that route, I would not be here now.
Oh, when I was speaking with her, it resonated with me so much because she talked about how when she graduated school, like she just worked at Walgreens, she worked at Rite Aid, and she kind of was like, I got my white coat, like, you know, I have a doctorate, like I should be able to be on the front line and I just have to do this, not knowing all of those steps contributed to now where she is today. So I thought it was just a beautiful story of just growth.
I'm impressed with just how young she is and how much she's been able to accomplish, and for her to be able to give back to her community is just a great thing.
Yeah.
Definitely a story about perseverance, right? Like if you think things aren't going your way, time changes a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You just got to keep going.
Yeah, we probably can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, pharmacy school is no joke. I mean, obviously I've never been, but I have a lot of friends that are pharmacists, and it's a lot of work. It's very hard. It's not what you think it is. It's not just, you know, putting a few pills in a bottle and giving it to someone. It takes a lot of math. It takes a lot of skill and training. And so kudos to her for doing this and defying the odds. Yeah.
And one thing I didn't even realize by going there, it's in Winston-Salem, that's where the pharmacy is, and that pharmacy provides, you know, as it said in the package, prescription items for less prices than what they would be if you were to purchase them with insurance. So it was $45, but she said in reality it's actually $2,000. But I didn't know how many people in Winston-Salem really need. She said like thousands of people desperately need a pharmacy like that.
It's
and
so
a lot
expensive.
of them are actually Spanish speaking. So another issue she has at work is translating and communicating how to use this medication for a lot of people. So that's another thing that they're trying to work through. This pharmacy's only been around for about a couple of months, but she's on the front line leading the charge. So it's certainly amazing.
Sounds like you have a part 2 there. That's some
Seriously,
really
though.
valuable information.
Yeah. Monique, thank you for bringing us that story. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with
Friday is Earth Day, but Mother Nature deserves some love every single day. So all week long, we have highlighted different ways people are working to limit their carbon footprint. Today, we take a trip to a hotel that claims to be the first one of its kind to go entirely green. Check it out.
Welcome to room 2 Chiswick. This is one of our rooms.
At first glance, it's a traditional hotel room.
Feels very homey.
Exactly, right?
But a closer look at London's first hotel reveals its planet-saving secrets.
When focusing specifically on carbon, room 2 Chiswick is the most sustainable hotel in the world.
Instead of fossil fuels, renewable energy powers the building. There are solar panels on the roof, and geothermal pumps pull heat from deep underground.
That converts 100% of our heating, cooling and hot water needs.
The showers, said to use 40% less water, are a guest favorite.
The water pressure and the water temperature are perfect.
And motion sensors help save more energy.
When there's no movement detected in the room, there's no heating and no electricity being burned.
Waste is a dirty word inside this plastic-free property. Clean and green is the name of the game.
They're cooking here and they're recycling here.
Exactly, and so the food waste we're going to be composting on site, and then we can use that for our vegetable garden.
Even the carpets are recycled, made from fishing nets collected from the ocean.
As a small initiative which helps reduce plastic pollution and puts it to a new useful life.
All of the eco-friendly features keep guests like Jared Brown coming back.
Oh, I absolutely sleep better in an environmentally friendly hotel.
This is the future.
Creators hope hotels around the world will follow their lead and sleep better, doing their part for the planet. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Does it have to be so ugly?
Well, what I was thinking, I've never been in a hotel
Sorry, that's all I could
to
think.
that magnitude of taking it green, but I recall immediately when I was watching it, when I visited LA, I was staying in a hotel where every time you wanted to turn the lights on, you had to insert your key to make sure the energy was like, in order for energy to be used in the room, you always had to insert your key. So therefore, if you weren't there, you obviously wouldn't be wasting energy.
That makes sense to me, and that's like, you know, nothing that's too difficult to do.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the room, why do you need lights on and different things like that? So I like that idea.
That makes me think of, I went to Northwestern Guilford High School a few weeks ago for a story there, and the classroom, after a little bit of us doing the interview, the lights went off because it's a green school, and so you have to like walk around the room to make the lights come back on. And I just thought that's so
neat.
smart.
Yeah. I just feel like in Greensboro, we have the LEED certified hotel, Printworks, and it's so beautiful, and you can never really tell that it's different than a normal hotel, but they're still helping the environment. Like, there's got to be a better middle ground than what that was.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about
You don't sound like a fan, Ben.
Ben's not going to go stay there.
I don't know, those showers sounded pretty good.
Well, yeah, they did. They did.
All right, we'll be right back. Let us know what you think about this green hotel.
Good. Thank you. You're welcome.
Really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Not the only one. Hi, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hi there, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas sucks, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland.
I'm getting all the sass from Chad today.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's time for my 2 cents. Recently, I celebrated a milestone birthday, the big 3-0. Now, some may say a lady never shares her age, but I have so much to be thankful for in this new decade of life. I have a family that supports me, I have my health, and I'm learning more about myself every day. Though I've been blessed with so much in these 30 years of life, I can't help but wonder if I've made the most of them. Isn't 30 the year when you should have your whole life figured out? As I scroll through my Instagram timeline, I see people posting about home ownership, promotions, and engagements. I'm constantly asked questions like, when are you going to settle down and have a family? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What is your life purpose? The reality is, I don't have all the answers to those questions. Don't get me wrong, I've always been a go-getter and someone who sets a high bar for themselves. But with maturity, I'm starting to get to a place where I can feel okay with not knowing how things will play out. There's a popular saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. In this new year of life, I'm focused on pouring into myself, aspiring to be the best version of myself so I can fully appreciate all the blessings God has in store for me. As you begin a new year of your life, I encourage you to do the same. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFNY News 2 at 5 starts now. Day 3 of hearings for the men convicted of killing NBA All-Star Chris Paul's grandfather, and more evidence is coming to light.
Today, the focus was on their mental state before, during, and after the crime.
The state focused on the teens' report cards and progress reports from grade